Good, Mark?
Hey, Jeff. Clea, can you hear me, Colin?
Yeah, all good.
Okay, well, let's get underway and say welcome to Collin Morikawa for joining us at the Tour Championship here at the FedEx Cup Playoffs. Colin, it's your second start at Eastlake, finished sixth last year in 2020. Talk about coming back to Eastlake and how special it is at the end of the season to reach that top third.
Oh, it means a lot. It means you've done something right, and obviously it's a goal to get to Eastlake. But knowing the position I put myself in at the end of the regular season, I want to try and win it. And I didn't really give myself the best odds, through the first couple playoff events, starting 7 back. But you know what, 7 back, it's not going to scare me from anything. I'm coming out here hopefully starting Thursday, and we're going to start playing well and put everything together. This is a cool season to look back at with how long it's kind of extended, how many tournaments it's been. But hopefully we can end it on a really good note.
Well, you mentioned 7 back, back from 6 back at the PGA Championship when you won through 36 holes there. Just before we take some questions, and I will remind the people, we have a lot of people online, so just limit it to one question. If you can just type your name in when you're ready to ask a question. You were at the Payne Stewart Award evening last night. Just talk about that experience and how that was your first go around at that award ceremony. Just elaborate on that experience a little bit.
Yeah, growing up, I didn't really know much about Payne Stewart. Obviously, I knew who he was. I knew the story, a little bit about him. But, over the past couple of days, knowing that I was going to show up to this dinner and look at a guy like Justin Rose, who I've looked up to, who I've been able to reach out to about anything, I wanted to read about it a little bit more, what the Payne Stewart Award means. And, it's amazing. It's an amazing kind of award, and to continue his legacy. To see what the Stewarts, Payne's wife and her and his kids are doing to extend that, it means a lot. So being there at the dinner was an honor. To be able just to talk a little bit on stage was pretty cool with Sergio. But yeah, Justin is an amazing guy. Payne obviously was an amazing guy to a bunch of people. Very just loving and caring, and it was very cool to be there for an hour to see that unfold.
Okay, just type in your name if you have any questions. We don't have any in the queue right now, so if you have a question, jump in.
Hey, Mark. I don't think it's updating on your end, but Steve DeMeglio, first question from USA Today. I have it on my end though, Mark.
Okay. All right, I'm not seeing any of that, so you can take it over, Stuart, if you want.
Collin, I'm just wondering, what is your state of mind right now about your state of your game right now?
Way better than it was 2 weeks ago. I think starting the playoffs, I really didn't know where it was going to be with the little back stuff and having not practiced. But I've kind of worked out a lot of the bad patterns that I built in. There's one thing that I need to figure out today, but for the most part, all the bad patterns that I worked in Memphis that I should have never played injured really, have been pushed out, so that's what's good. So we're going out here just trying to play golf. How do I put the ball in the hole? And I'm going to try and keep it simple. I could be thinking about a lot of things, but at the end of the day, everyone's just going to look at our score and what we shoot for this week. And I just want to get the ball in the hole. It's as simple as that, really.
And just quickly, have you given any thought to what you would do with $15 million?
No, it's a lot of money, but I don't know. Maybe go have a nice dinner.
Okay, thanks, big man.
Okay, it looks like we have a question from Daniel Rappaport next. Go ahead, Daniel.
Colin, I think you're one of the most popular players out here, so this doesn't really apply to you. I'm sure you've seen some of the comments from fans recently, and I'm just curious, what are your feelings on Mr. Monahan's comment history about the rookie stuff?
Yeah, I think what separates our sport from a lot of other sports is the idea of respect, and that's what our game is about. How do you respect others? And while we're hitting, it's been the norm for everyone to be quiet. So there comes a point of where it's almost could be called harassment when people are saying certain things, doing this. But they have their rights, and they have their rights to say what. So I haven't really thought about it too much. I haven't seen it in person on how bad it really has gotten. It's obviously unfortunate for us players playing when you hear certain things like that being said. But, you know, I heard some things last week, and I'm not going to say it, that were just inappropriate. And, you know, it wasn't right. So, you know, it's an unfortunate circumstance, because this is what our game is. You know, our game is about respect, and it's about honoring of the players and doing, you know, what people in the past, how our game has been raised throughout the years. I get it. You know, the world is changing. We're evolving. But that does not mean, you know, you can just go out and start saying anything you want. So it's an interesting topic. You know, it's I'm sure players have been called many things throughout the years, different names, different nicknames, but you know, it is what it is, and hopefully it's taken care of.
Cool, thanks.
Looks like we've got Bob Harrod next. Go ahead, Bob.
Thanks, Mark. Hey, Collin. Appreciate the time. Just curious your thoughts on the format here. You know, you wouldn't have played the other way, where there was, you know, kind of two tournaments going on at once. You had a Tour Championship winner, and sometimes you had somebody different win the FedEx, which is actually what happened with Tiger and Justin Rose a few years ago. Now that can't happen. And we've got this staggered start. What do you make of it? I mean, it's probably different than anything you've ever done in terms of stroke play.
Yeah, well, you know, I think I laid out the blueprint for what this format is. If you start or finish the regular season at first, and you pretty much don't accumulate any points, how far you might possibly drop down to 11th. You know, it is what it is. You know, I've heard other players talk about how they like it, how they don't like it. I think it's awesome to know that everyone has a chance this week, right? But like I said, our sport is so different than every other sport that, you know, you can't, you know, I don't think you could just make it one playoff event at the beginning and cut from 125 to whoever 70 make the cut, because every week is so different. But it shows the strength of these playoffs is that if you're playing well like Eric Van Rooyen, you can play yourself into the Tour Championship. And I think that's what's pretty cool is that, you know, he started so far back. I think right before the Barracuda, he was outside the 125 and worked his way in. And now he has a chance for the FedEx Cup. So, you know, the staggered format I think is smart. I think it works. So it's cool to see that, you know, who's going to win this week is going to win everything else. So it sucks to be 7 back, but, you know, it is what it is, and we're going to go out firing.
Are you okay to have dropped as far as you did with, you know, with just basically, you know, I know you didn't play great last week, but, you know, you missed the cut, you had kind of one bad week, and it really does impact you.
Yeah, I mean, am I okay with it? No, I don't personally like being dropped all the way down to 11th, but, you know, like I said, that's the way our playoffs work, but was there a lot of movement for me? Yeah, to be first in the FedEx Cup, and then, you know, just say I was injured, and which I was, you know, I was injured in Memphis, and I really shouldn't have played that injured, built bad patterns, but just say I was injured and we have 3 weeks of playoff, and knowing that I want to work my way to the Tour Championship, and that's what I said at Liberty National, is that this is a 3-week stretch. How do I peak at this week, not peak at the first week? Because, you know, you could play well the first 2 weeks and have a bad week here, and then you lose everything. So yeah, you know, does it suck to be 11th? Absolutely. Is there a better way? I don't know. I think there's a lot of ways we can go about it, and it's just so hard because you have to almost implement it to figure out what's going to be right.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, thanks. Well, we'll go to Adam Schupak, Golf League next. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Collin, I just want to drill down a little more on when exactly did you injure the back, and what were you able to do in the last few days with Rick to kind of feel like you're in a better spot right now?
Yeah, it happened first round of the Olympics, and then something else kind of happened in between Memphis and Liberty National. So during that week off, it was all gone by the time I teed off at Liberty. You know, there's no excuses there for a bad back. So everyone, let's put that aside. My back is fine now. I'm moving fine. It's just the patterns I built into my swing when I played injured just created such a bad habit, right? So I was trying to teach myself last week at BMW how to swing like my old self. We're working back there. I'm pretty much, I'd call it 95% back to the original swing. There's just a couple little kinks here and there that show up, but you know, every week you're not swinging it perfect. I don't think there's one week I can think back at this season where I was swinging it amazing, where I knew where I was going to go. So, you know, it is what it is, and we're going to go out just hitting my little cut, bring that cut back, and that's the biggest thing I've learned, you know, not play injured, because it really built bad patterns into my swing that I had to think about, and I had to realize that's what it was.
Is it lower back or?
Yeah, Olympics was kind of just this like kind of left lower muscle, no nerves or anything. It was just, you know, pulled a little muscle, and then in Memphis I was trying to play around it, and yeah, bad idea.
Do you need these 2 weeks off to get to rest it for the Ryder Cup?
No, I'm all good now. Like I'm 100%. I can touch my toes now, and I'm all good. No, I feel great, which is awesome. It's just, I know what my swing does, right? You know, I've done it for my entire life. I know what it does. And then when you swing for 2 weeks, and PGA Tour players are so good at repeating something. So when I do something for 2 weeks, I'm going to think, oh, that's what my normal is, when really my normal is not that. It's because I was protecting away from not trying to injure it even more. So it's just building in a pattern that I know that I've done for, you know, years and years and years.
How important was it having Rick here this week?
Yeah, well, last week, it was very important, you know, just to build back patterns, him knowing what I do and what my normal rotations are. It's just building that back. I got my trainer out here this week from LA, so just working everything back to where it's normal. You know, I'm not doing anything different. I'm not changing anything. It's just going back to what I know, what my swing was a month and a half ago.
Last one for me. Do you feel like you deserve to have a chance to still win after the last 2 weeks?
Do I deserve to have a chance? I think everyone has a chance.
I know, but in the playoffs, if you have one bad week, you would be out of the playoffs. But you've had kind of 2 poor weeks. Do you feel like you deserve a chance to still win this thing?
I mean, I don't think I think everything's earned. You know, do you deserve to be here on this camera? Like, do you deserve your job? It's kind of a, you know, deserve, I don't think is the right word, you know? Everyone sets themselves up to make a run at the playoffs, right? I set myself up more throughout the regular season, and obviously I played poorly those first two tournaments, but I had enough of a cushion where I knew I was going to be here. You know, if I took those first 2 playoff events off, you guys would all be calling me crazy. I'd still be sitting here at 11th. I think I'd be sitting here at 11th or whatever. And then you'd be asking me, do I deserve to win? I mean, I would have said, oh, I would have rested for 2 weeks, you know? Like, I mean, you're going to ask Patrick Reed, does he deserve to win this tour championship? I mean, the dude had double pneumonia. Like, that's awful. So deserve is not, I would never use that word, because we've all earned our position here, right? Whether it's from the fall, I mean, you could have, what if you won both majors in the fall and then you didn't play well? Do you deserve to make it to the playoffs? I mean, yeah, you played well. That's what the season's about. So.
Thanks a lot, Colin.
Yeah.
Okay, just time for 2 or 3 quick ones. Hit Shane Wilson.
Colin, I don't know if you've seen the movie Unforgiven, but there's a quote that deserves got nothing to do with it. It's a good quote, so you can use that next time. Question for you about the Ryder Cup. Putting personalities aside, you know, you've got some match play experience. You were very successful in the Walker Cup. Whose game among people that are or may be on the U.S. team do you think would match up well with yours in a either alternate shot or 4-ball format?
Yeah, you know, I think like a JT or like a Xander. You know, those guys have very similar games. They're very consistent. And, you know, they're just guys you get along with. I think that's what a big part of it is about, you know, not just matching up games. And I think that is a lot of the percentage of how you're going to play well. But it's just getting to know these guys. And I've hung out with Xander, I've hung out with JT, and I've played a lot of golf with them. Is that it just makes things a little easier by the time, you know, when you're put in a setting with 40,000 fans around you, hitting a first tee shot, it just makes it a little more comfortable, because it's, you know, what I've heard is that once you tee off, I mean, you're in a whole nother world. You know, it's anything, it's everything unlike what we normally do on a regular basis. Even when we are finishing off a major, you're at the end of a tournament when you got a bunch of fans. There's nothing like it to describe it. So, yeah, you know, I think it's just guys that I feel comfortable with. Everyone's games is going to be plenty good enough to go out there on that stage. It's just how do you just be a little more comfortable with your team and just knowing that, you know, they believe in you just as much as you believe in them.
Got it. Thank you, Collin.
Okay, thanks, Shane. Collin, we'll have one more question. We'll go to Steve Palmer from the AGC. Go ahead, Steve.
Yes, hey Colin, I'm sorry I joined late, I hope you weren't asked this previously, but, you've had a chance to have a pretty up close look at Patrick Cantlay and his game, and what do you respect most about his game, and how tough is he gonna be to run down this week?
Yeah, he's like a silent killer, you know, he just kind of does everything well. And I was, I guess, fortunate to watch his first 2 days. I think he was we were looking at it, he was plus 11 strokes game putting through the first 2 rounds. And I mean, he was making everything and he was hitting it well, he was driving it well off the tee. And it's hard to catch, but you know what, this is the game of golf. And as I've seen and as everyone has seen, every week is different. You know, granted, I'm not saying his game's bad. He's a great player, and he has a 2-shot lead and a 7-shot lead on me. But it's golf. You know, anything can happen. I'm going to go out here trying to force the issue of just playing my best. You know, I want to be ready by Thursday, by that first hole. And if I'm not, you know, it's going to be a lot harder to catch him.
All right, Colin, we appreciate it. Have a great week here at East Lake, and everybody on the chat here, stay tuned. We'll have Rory McIlroy in next. Thanks again, Colin.
Thanks, guys.